gotta face that east.
Where
you know where the east at? Going towards downtown.
Police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's west side.
They like, man, this nigga just got some money. He trying to flip everybody royals. All the shorties going for that shit.
All the shorties was royal. It wasn't even no travelers gang.
Just days after stepping out of prison, it felt like fate had already written the next chapter for Nico. Dawn Dutch Cheeks had warned everybody, not just his fans, but anyone paying attention, that the real danger wasn't out there in the streets. It was right beside him. It wasn't the ops. It wasn't rival crews. It was the same dudes he'd grown up with, the ones he'd taken hits for, split meals with, and crashed in the same rundown apartments during those wild nights on Chicago's west side. But on June 29th, 2024, that warning turned chillingly real, when those very same friends stood in a circle watching as Nico got taken out, and not one of them even moved to stop it.
Officers tell us they were called to the area near Franklin and Spalding for a report of a person shot.
And here's what makes it even colder. This wasn't just some random street hit or revenge gone wrong. It was a planned move, a setup straight from people who knew him best, who probably smiled in his face just hours before. The streets say this wasn't about gang politics or some shady deal. It was straight up envy, pure jealousy over Nico's glow up, the money he was stacking, the attention he was getting, and the respect he'd finally earned after doing time. And all that hate, it kicked off over something petty, a fight at a class reunion over another man's baby mama. Unbelievable. At just 35 years old, Nico DeMarcus Whitehead, better known in the streets as Cheeks to Dawn, carried the weight of Chicago in his name.
Well, protect me from my so-called friends. It's like my own enemies. 9 times out of 10, the ops ain't gonna get your be their own homies, snaked out. Stay the away from around these fake ass niggas.
Born on January 5th, 1989, he came up in one of the city's roughest zones, where West Garfield Park and Humboldt Park collided in chaos. His block, the corner of Chicago Avenue and Trumbull, deep inside Motown Vice Lord territory. Before Nico even said a word, his body already told his story loud and clear. Every inch of his skin was inked up, from 5-point Vice Lord stars to stacks of cash and pyramid tattoos that screamed wealth, loyalty, and power. Across his abs, the words "Da Dawn" blazed like a crown, and Cheeks was written in smooth cursive right across his chest. He wasn't just repping the streets, he embodied them.
That's when they say they found a 35-year-old man who had been shot several times. The victim was taken to a hospital where he later died. It's still not known who fired the shots.
Yeah, that royal shit was different.
Yeah.
That royal shit was different.
Dude, them came through that shoot. I remember they was like, look, I'll never forget, we was out there shooting dice.
He started out like any other kid. Morton Elementary, then Esmond Middle, and later Morgan Park High. But let's be real, the streets got to him way before graduation day ever could. The hustle, the loyalty, and the danger became his classroom, and he learned every lesson the hard way.
What else you want?
Just an iPhone.
Get my kids.
By the time Nico hit his teenage years, he had already locked in with the Traveler Vice Lords, one of the biggest branches of the almighty Vice Lord Nation, Chicago's second largest gang, packing around 30 to 35,000 members. But Nico wasn't just any face in the crowd. He rolled with the Wild Bunch Money Gang, a tight TVL subset that ruled over the Chicago and Trumbull blocks. Their mission wasn't just about chaos, it was about hustle, stacking cash, and surviving in a city where most people were left with nothing. Nico didn't take long to make his name echo through the streets. Folks called him an OG enforcer, a man who stood on business, no questions asked. He was known to handle missions, keep his crew in check, and move with the kind of respect that only came from being battle-tested. People in the hood said Nico was the one you wanted watching your back. He rode for his people like no other, according to Street Talk. His loyalty wasn't just a word, it was his way of life. But that same loyalty carried into his home, too.
You gotta face that east.
Where
you know where the east at? Going towards downtown.
What you gonna do to him, dude?
Hey, Gucci.
Man, that dude be high as shit, though.
You know where the east at? That motherfucker faces downtown, beloved.
This nigga retarded.
Behind the street armor was a family man, father to 2 kids, baby Nico and Arian Nick. His wife, Shawnquee, had been by his side through every storm, never folding even when the world tried to break them. His mother, Kimmy Whitehead, his father, Juan Cody, his grandfather, William Nevels, and his 5 siblings all formed a tight family circle that kept him steady even while he walked through the madness of the gang world. Even though Nico was deep in the streets, he wasn't just chasing fast money, he wanted to build something real. He started his own clothing brand called Another Level Clothing Incorporated.
They like, man, this nigga just got some money. He trying to flip everybody royal.
He
All the
flipping
shorties
everybody.
going for that shit.
All the shorties was royal. It wasn't even no travelers, gang.
Turning his street hustle into a legit grind. At the same time, he was chasing his passion for rap, dropping drill tracks that came straight from his life, raw, unfiltered, and full of truth. He even stepped into acting, popping up in local Chicago hood films and bringing that same street energy to the screen. His whole image as Cheeks to Dawn came alive on Instagram Live. He'd be chilling with double cups, sipping lean, rocking shiny Rolexes, and spitting lines about loyalty, survival, and staying solid no matter what. Fans ate it up. They felt his words because they came from real struggle. Platforms like Zach TV gave him a spotlight, pushing his name deeper into Chicago's drill scene. But with more fame came more heat, and Nico knew the spotlight also brought consequences.
He flipped all them motherfuckers. He flipped all them niggas.
He say all the shorties going. He like, I ain't gonna lie, all the shorties going for that shit. Shorties got some millions. He just flipped everybody.
Bro, them niggas slept in bed together, bro. The niggas slept in bed together, you hear me?
Well, protect me from my so-called friends so I can kill my own enemies. 9 times out of 10, the ops ain't gonna kill shit. Be their own homies, snaked out. I'll keep that shit.
By 2018, things took a hard turn. Federal agents hit him with serious charges: possession with intent to distribute narcotics and using a firearm in connection with drug trafficking, spread across 3 different counts. The case landed in the Northern District of Illinois under Judge Kennelly, and the feds weren't playing. No bond, straight detention. Nico spent the next several years behind federal walls, watching his dream pause but never fully fade. According to people who did time with Nico, he kept it real the whole way through. Word inside was that he never folded. He didn't snitch, didn't switch up, didn't turn his back on anybody. One person even posted on Reddit saying everything's good with him being solid, backing up what everyone already knew. Nico was a stand-up dude, even behind those prison walls. When he finally walked out of federal custody in late 2023, it was like watching a comeback movie unfold. Nico stepped out shining.
Y'all give me some love.
Fresh look, fresh energy, and a whole new level of confidence. Money was rolling in, women were chasing him, and for once, he was putting his focus where it mattered. His family and his businesses. He looked like a man who'd beat the odds and came out winning, ready to flip his life around. But success in the streets always comes with shadows. The same people who once cheered for him started side-eyeing him when his glow got too bright. That envy turned into jealousy, that jealousy turned into quiet hate, and Nico could feel it building around him like thunder before a storm. Nico tried to tell everybody what was going on. He straight up warned them. He said his anxiety was through the roof because he could see the snakes in his own circle. The danger wasn't from rival gangs or street enemies. It was coming from the ones calling themselves his friends. These weren't random words or attention-grabbing posts. They were real cries of fear. Nico wasn't scared of getting caught in another shootout. He'd already been through those battles and survived. What really haunted him was the thought of betrayal from people he trusted most. And judging by what came next, he had every reason to be on edge. On the night of June 29th, 2024, around 11:10 p.m., Nico showed up at a class reunion kickback on 3300 West Franklin Boulevard in Humboldt Park. It was supposed to be a night to vibe, to reconnect with old faces, share laughs, and celebrate how far everyone had come. It was one of those chill, feel-good neighborhood moments where you think nothing bad could happen because you're surrounded by your own people.
I love y'all.
Love you too. Dada,
Yeah.
can you give me a 15 tomorrow?
But underneath that happy energy, tension was quietly building. And according to several street accounts, it didn't take long before things got messy. It all kicked off over a woman, specifically the baby mama of one of Nico's childhood homies, someone he'd known since Sandbox days, a dude who should have been untouchable when it came to crossing those lines. But that night, loyalty cracked and everything started to spiral. Word on the streets was that Nico had crossed a line. He'd gotten involved with his homie's baby mama. That kind of move in street code is seen as deep disrespect, and it lit a fire that had probably been burning low for a while. What started as tension turned into a full-blown fight, and this was no group jump, it was one-on-one. But everyone watching said the same thing. Nico came out on top. Even while heavily leaned out, he still dominated the fight and showed he wasn't one to back down.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna get you a new phone too, okay?
I want a 15.
Want a 15 like me?
Yeah.
I got you, okay?
Tomorrow.
But in that wild moment, everything flipped. Nico made one tragic mistake. While trying to pull his gun, likely just to flex control, he accidentally fired it and hit his own leg. The pain and shock dropped his guard, leaving him wide open. In seconds, his weapon was snatched away, and that's when the chaos started. The footage that later surfaced was beyond disturbing. It showed Nico lying on the ground, blood spreading from his leg as he was pistol whipped again and again. The hits kept coming, his body twisted in pain. But what made it worse wasn't just the violence, it was who was doing nothing.
And I know he was sitting there like, damn, is these niggas gonna really try to kill me?
Man, he said, man, when he getting hit, he looking like, damn, y'all.
Looking like,
it's like that look like, damn, y'all ain't finna stop this. Like, what the?
Surrounding him in a tight circle were 8 to 12 men, all wearing bright orange shirts. These weren't enemies or rival gang members. These were his own people. Fellow Traveler Vice Lords, Wild Bunch Money Gang members, men he trusted, fought for, and bled beside, yet not one of them stepped in to stop it. They just watched as their brother, their so-called friend, lay there helpless, bleeding out on the street. The 59-second clip that hit the internet was chilling. It showed Nico twisting on the ground, clearly in pain and struggling to move, while one man in an orange shirt just walked away mid-beating like it was nothing.
Well, them people did some shit, bro. It was all offense. A lot of motherfuckers weren't going for that shit. Because if he couldn't flip them,
the rest of the crew stood around frozen, staring, doing absolutely nothing. Some looked spaced out, likely high on perks and lean, their minds fogged when their brother needed them most. It was a scene that didn't look like loyalty. It looked like betrayal caught on camera. Then everything shifted at around the 37-second mark. Out of the crowd stepped a man wearing a dark hoodie. Calm, collected, no panic in his walk. He moved straight toward Nico, slow and sure, like he'd already made his choice. With no hesitation, he stood over Nico's body and raised his weapon, then fired several times. Point blank, the shots rang out. 2, maybe 4, tearing into Nico's head and torso, his body jerking with each hit before going completely still. The energy in that moment flipped from chaos to cold silence. As Nico lay motionless on the pavement, someone from the crowd shouted, "Who know?" Not asking if Nico was okay, but checking if the shooter was straight. You could even hear people telling him, "Go home, get out of here before the cops come."
I just don't believe they ain't had no guns. I can't believe that.
Man, them niggas had one pipe, gang. They ain't had no guns out there, boy.
How?
And within seconds, the whole group scattered. Some ran fast, others strolled off like nothing had just happened. When police later arrived, they found nearly 20 shell casings at the scene, meaning either multiple guns were fired or one shooter emptied his entire clip just to make sure Nico was gone for good. Nico was rushed to Stroger Hospital, but it was too late.
He had all type of shit. All type of shit, blood.
They ain't had no guns out there, boy. That's how you know some crazy shit going on, boy. They ain't had no pipes.
He was pronounced dead on arrival at just 35 years old. In one tragic moment, everything that defined him, being a father, a husband, a son, a friend, was gone. Just like that, a whole life cut short in front of the people he trusted most. But what makes this story hit even harder is what came out afterward. The shooter, he wasn't even the man Nico had been fighting with. According to witnesses who were there, the one who pulled the trigger was an outsider, someone not even involved in the original beef. He saw an opening and took it without a second thought. That twist raised a heavy question.
Baby mom just come to my DM and said, everybody right there gonna pay.
Everybody right there. I told you it was all travelers right there, bro. That's why.
He just came by DM and said, everybody that was right there gonna pay.
Was this just a heated street moment gone too far? Or was it a setup that had been planned long before the night even started? Almost immediately, the streets started buzzing with theories. Rumors spread that this wasn't random at all. It was payback, jealousy, and envy mixed together. Word was that Nico's post-prison rise had made him a target within his own crew.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro, they be doing it. They been doing it.
When Lil Cheese get home, motherfuckers better get up out of there. Nah, yeah, he ain't going for that shit.
He was stacking cash from his clothing brand, dropping tracks that were getting attention, and getting love from women who saw his glow up. He was respected again, maybe too respected. And that kind of shine can turn friends into enemies real quick. Some people in his circle couldn't handle seeing him win, and that resentment might have been the spark that led to his downfall. The person who pistol whipped Nico wasn't some random face from the block. It was somebody he knew, someone he'd broken bread with, trusted fully, and led into his inner circle. That made the betrayal hit even deeper. This wasn't just street beef, it was personal.
I was gonna make some examples. Folks don't play about his brother, folks. And Big Cheeks ain't play about Little Cheeks.
To think that someone who once called him brother could take part in his murder showed just how twisted the loyalty around him had become. People wondered how no one tried to stop it, how a whole group could just stand there. But the streets had their explanations. First, many of the people at that reunion were high, lean, perks, all of it. They were too gone to think straight or move fast. When you're that faded, even chaos can feel distant, like it's happening in slow motion. Then came the no snitch code, one of the hardest rules in gang life. Even if someone wanted to step in or call for help, doing so could have meant going against the crew's word. Once a move like that is set in motion, nobody dares cross it. Loyalty turns into silence even when someone's life is on the line. And finally, the whispers from the streets said it all. People believe this was a sanctioned hit from within the Wild Bunch money gang. Jealousy over Nico's come up, his fame, his money, and the love he was getting supposedly pushed his own people to decide that he had to go. That night was strange from the start. The usual security setup that's always tight at a gang event, nowhere to be found.
We all the guys though. Why ain't nobody trying to stop it though?
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all could at least stop the gang. Y'all just watch that shit.
Nobody was strapped except the one man who ended up killing Nico. It was too perfect, too quiet, like the whole thing had been arranged beforehand. The scene felt staged, almost like Nico was walking straight into a trap he never saw coming. When the footage of his death hit the internet, it spread fast. Posted on X, formerly Twitter, and shared across every platform within hours. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. The comments were filled with anger and disbelief. Everyone asking the same question: how could so many people just stand there? How could men who called him brother just watch him go out like that without lifting a hand to hell? There were hundreds of people at that reunion. Friends, homies, even fellow Wild Bunch members, yet not a single person stepped up. That silence said it all. To many, it looked like more than fear. It looked like agreement. A quiet understanding that what happened to Nico was something everyone had already accepted. The Chicago Police Department's Area 4 detectives were assigned to the case, but even now, nearly 18 months later, no arrests have been made and no suspects have been officially named. The case stays cold, buried under the same street code of silence that's kept so many murders unsolved. In the gang world, talking to police is seen as the ultimate betrayal, one that can get you hurt or worse. Still, while the official investigation sits still, the streets haven't forgotten. Whispers of retaliation have been floating around ever since that night. Payback handled the street way. What comes next, nobody knows. But one thing's clear. Nico's story has left a scar that won't fade anytime soon. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think really went down. See you in the next one.